Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Flash, and I know I've been away for a little bit, but I'm back again with another video. And would you believe it's been 3 months since I purchased my 14-inch M1 Max Pro? I know, it's crazy. Time's like flying right now. I really want to take some time and give some of my updated thoughts on this computer. Some of the things I really liked, some of the things I probably didn't like so much, and if it's something that I would buy again in the future. Run the intro. First time here, welcome. My channel is all about helping you turn your passion into a paycheck whilst taking you along my filmmaking journey. If that's the kind of thing that you're into, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and you turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. So yeah, it's been 3 months now since I've had the computer, and for anybody that didn't watch the first video, the main reason why I got this computer was to improve my workflow, speed up my edits, be able to multitask, and just have one computer that I can take with me wherever I go. And I can be completely honest with you guys, I've been using it for everything. I use the computer at my desk, I use it at a friend's house, I'll even use it in my bed. It's really been just that versatile for me. If you're somebody that's still trying to figure out if you should get one of these M1 Max computers, honestly at this point I think you should just bite the bullet and go and do it. Realistically, you should get the computer. The only thing that you need to figure out is how you're going to configure yours. Because if you do anything like me where you're creative, or you edit videos, or you edit pictures and things like that, this computer rips through that content effortlessly. And I'll tell you this honestly, this is still the best computer I've ever used. So let's talk about my build and what it costs really quickly. So I went with the 14-inch M1 Max with the 10-core CPU, 32-core GPU, and 16-core neural engine. I added 64 gigabytes of memory and 1 terabyte of SSD storage, coming in at about $46.49 Canadian. And yes, this is still definitely the most expensive computer I have ever purchased. But I knew I was purchasing this computer for my business, and since I do all of my editing in-house, over time I knew this computer was essentially going to be paying for itself. So I wasn't worried too much about the overall price. On any given day, I'll usually have a ton of different windows open and doing a lot of multitasking. I have maybe a web browser open, maybe I have my music open, my email, a couple folders. It just adds up, and with that, it eats up a lot of memory on the computer. So I decided to go with the 64 gigabytes, so just that no matter what I'm doing at any given time, the computer can still do what it has to do to process everything I'm trying to do. I didn't want to feel like I ever had to sacrifice what programs I had open so that I can get things done ever again. So I just went with the most that they offered. I decided to go with 1 terabyte of SSD storage. Now compared to my other computer, I had 512 gigabytes or something like that, which was good enough for the most part. But after a while, I started definitely noticing that my computer would tell me that it's running out of storage. And it was annoying. Granted, every single project that I ever work on, I always work on an external hard drive. But to have the applications and maybe some of the things that I downloaded and like assets and stuff like that, it was on a computer's hard drive. And after a while that accumulates, and so that's what led me to go with the 1 terabyte of SSD storage. I use this computer for a multitude of different things for my business. It could be video editing, invoicing, creating documents, managing clients, doing research, video calls, and just general entertainment like Netflix or whatever. For my video editors out there, the main program that I use is DaVinci Resolve. And honestly, if in 2022 you still have not switched over to DaVinci Resolve, I really don't know what to tell you. It never crashes. It's as smooth as butter. It's an industry leader for all movies and TV shows when it comes to color grading. And it's free. And just to be straight up, I'm not sponsored by DaVinci Resolve in any way. However, I mean, if you guys do see this and you want to talk about some deals, I'm all ears. But just do yourself the favor, man. Just download it today. Take 2 weeks or a week, depending on how quick you are. Learn how to use it, and just thank me later. My projects load up almost instantly, and I can literally scrub through any project without dropping any frames. And for anybody that's been working with like something like Premiere, you know that you can't do that with most computers or most programs. So that's one thing that I love most about getting this new computer and switching over to DaVinci Resolve. So let's talk about the size of the computer. One of the things that was a major decision for me was being able to travel with this computer. It comes in 14 inches and 16 inches, and to be honest, both are obviously travel friendly because it is a laptop at the end of the day. But for me, I thought about things like being on a plane and maybe want to do some editing, or a train, or in the back of a car, or wherever where space is not really as abundant as, let's say, in a living room or at a desk. And having a 14-inch computer where it just fits perfectly on your lap and doesn't really take up too much space on a tray or a little table or anything like that, it made a world of a difference for me. And again, if you have a computer monitor like this at home, do you really need a 16-inch monitor? Probably not. The 14-inch model for me just felt like it can go anywhere and do anything. And just having all that power with me all the time is like probably how Thanos felt when he collected all of the Infinity Stones. Like, I literally feel invincible when I do my work. Let's talk about the screen real quick. Simply put, it's amazing. The resolution and clarity is second to none, and all of its colors are extremely accurate and vibrant. If we add the 120 Hz refresh rate to the mix, it takes it to an even better level. After experiencing that 120 Hz per second refresh rate, it's hard to go back to any other laptop. But if there's one thing that I will complain about, it is that notch. A lot of YouTubers have been saying after you use it for a while, you kind of forget that it's even there, but I didn't forget about it. Every time I look at that computer screen, I see that notch and I just say, like, why did you guys do this? Why couldn't you just hide this better? Like, it's a terrible design. But when you are consuming content and you get those little black bars at the top and the bottom, it does essentially make the notch disappear. But when you're doing everyday regular things, you will notice that notch. Let's take a moment and talk about this keyboard. I can honestly say I rarely use the physical keyboard just because I do use the Logitech MX keys when I'm connected to my monitor at home. But when I do use it, it's actually a really nice experience. I love that I'm able to unlock the laptop with a fingerprint scanner and having physical buttons to do things like adjust the volume. They also made some changes to the keys itself, and in my opinion, it's a much better design than what they had on some of the previous laptops. The keystrokes are much softer and it feels like there's a bit more travel than what they had before, and it just feels almost fuller to the finger. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, when you press the keys, it travels a bit more and it just feels like you're actually hitting the keyboard. One of the standout features about this computer is its battery life. I must say, I don't use it away from my computer a lot of the time, but the odd times when I am away from home and I do need to use the computer, it seems like this battery lasts forever. And then when it's actually time to charge this computer, it does it with amazing efficiency. If I recall, the 14-inch M1 Max gives you about 12 hours of battery life. And on those long trips or, long nights where you're away from home or you might not have the ability to charge right away, it's just perfect. Another thing that really stood out to me about this computer was its ability to export quickly. If you're a video editor and you're anything like me, you know that a large majority of your time is spent waiting for the creations that you've made to actually export. And on previous computers, it just took forever. We edit wedding videos that are sometimes up to an hour long, and in most cases have 3 to 4 4K cameras that we use to collect the footage. And when you export something like that, it brings most computers to its knees. But comparing the M1 Max to one of my previous computers, here's some of the results that we saw. And to me, this was like, wow. It literally took like half the amount of time to export the same video. And if you're like me and you do this a lot, over time that really accumulates. So you're literally saving time by having a computer that exports this quickly. And that's great because it either gives me some time to either A, work on something else, or B, just relax. I want to touch on the fan noise really quickly because I saw a lot of videos before I purchased my computer that was like, YouTubers like, oh, it's so quiet, it's so this, it's so that, I never hear the fans. Bruh. When I start exporting these 4K, 6K videos, I hear those fans. And they're loud. But 90% of the times when I'm doing regular stuff that's not that demanding, it is fairly quiet. But I'm telling you, if you do a lot of exporting with big files, you're going to hear those fans. So be aware of that. The last point I really want to touch on is that this computer wasn't only purchased for work. It was purchased for fun too. I find myself using my laptop away from home for regular things like just watching Netflix, YouTube videos, talking on group chats or video calls or whatever. And it's been great. Even while I'm at home, I find myself from time to time just going in the backyard or different parts of the house and just using my computer for fun. And that's something I couldn't really do with some of my other computers. So here's the magic question. Would I buy it again? And the answer is yes. If there was one thing that I would change, it would be the amount of SSD storage that I got. I'd probably go from 1 terabyte to maybe 2 or 3. And that's really just to ensure that I have enough storage for years to come. The 14-inch Max is just something I know I'm going to get a lot of work out of. It can handle literally all of the projects that I throw at it, and when I'm out of the country, it's something I can confidently use anywhere I go. If your laptop screen is the only screen that you use and you find yourself all over the place all the time, then maybe look at the 16-inch, but that's really going to come down to your personal preference. Do you value 2 more inches of screen and maybe a little bit more battery life, or do you care about the weight and convenience to move it in and out of a bag or maneuver it in small spaces? That decision ultimately comes down to you. If you're not a multitasker or somebody that uses GPU-intensive programs, then the M1 Max is just not going to be for you. For the price that they want for that computer, and if you're not making any money off of it doing professional work, it's not something I would recommend spending that much money on. If we're being honest, don't do it. If you are, however, professional and you do use it for work and it's work that is actually going to generate income for you, this is a no-brainer. Get the M1 Max and configure it the way that you want. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. Do you guys have an M1 Max? Are you thinking about getting one? Leave your questions in the comments below and let's get the conversation started. This is what I do for a living in real life. So if you want an honest opinion from anybody and you have any other questions, I'm the guy that's going to answer it for you. If you've made it to the end of this video, I want to say thank you so much for watching. And make sure you go ahead and hit me with a like so that other people can see this video as well. And if the video helped in any way, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. Remember to look, learn, and share. Take it easy, guys. Peace.